Hello, Lisa Fry, the Catholic Unschooler. Today I'm going to share with you what we have been doing as a family, and that is learning to live without a credit card. Yes, for me it was very, very, very scary. Like I thought I was going to die because my whole entire 16 years of marriage, I've never had cash. Now, when I was single, yes, I had a job, I had my cash, I never had a credit card. Got married, didn't use cash, and used a credit card. So, I was very afraid. And the most thing I was afraid about, and the reason why I started thinking about this was because, one, I didn't want us to just be slaves and paying for our mortgage forever and ever until we were in our 60s. No. So I thought there had to be a way to do this. I started noticing too that, the credit card was racking up bills. That couldn't have been me, could it? Yes. So I started noticing that the credit card bill was way too high. Even though I was really careful, I thought I was being really frugal, but the problem was that I would see a sale and I would go for it. Well, when you have a credit card, like David Ramsey, my new financial advisor on YouTube, says, when you have a credit card, you would say, okay, say you're in McDonald's and you say, okay, I would like a number 4, please, and I'll pay for him too. But when you have cash, you really don't want to see it go. So you start going to the dollar menu and you say, hey, you're on your own, because you really don't want to part with the cash. And he was saying, which makes sense, that the reason for that is because you're always getting your credit card back. So it almost feels like, hey, you just made a deal, so you feel really brave about it, where the cash you see dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. So you're really more careful. So we've been putting ourselves on a budget, and if you look up David Ramsey, you'll see the 7 steps on YouTube on how to be free of debt. Yes, I'm talking all debt. Your cars, maybe you have, school loans for that. You have loans for, your house, and how to be free from all of that. It sounds too good to be true, but it truly is. So he talks about being free and not, when you do this, you have to be careful because you might feel like, well, I'll be judged, for being cheap, or even just putting yourself on a budget. I have never been on a budget in my life, okay? We were just always very careful with our money, and it always worked out. But as time goes on and the kids are getting older, it seems like it's really getting up there too much. It's too much for us. So what we have to do is we have to budget. So my husband has been giving me $200 every Monday, and what happens is I take that $200 and I have to use my brain and figure out what is the most necessary, right? So I pay for gas, I pay for my offering at church, I have to pay for food, and it's funny because you think you need so much, but then when you really look at things, you say, you know what? I don't need $80 worth of gas. I don't even need $50. I thought I needed even $40. Yeah, it would cost about $40 to fill it, but do I really have to fill it is the question. So I'm trying to live off just $20 of gas a week. We'll try it out. Yes, and some days are going to be more than others and some will be less, but the average is probably going to be $20 for me. And food. So I thought I needed $200 in the beginning. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna need $200 worth of food. And then it dwindled down, and then I started figuring out, you know what, I think I can do $100, maybe $110. So on the credit card bill, you're only gonna see very minimal. It's really only for emergencies, and that's it. And the rest is gonna go towards the house after we pay off our credit card bills for the last 2 months. Once those are done, then we can start saving for retirement, very important, and pay off the house. That's the next step. So you don't really need to use your credit card, okay? David Ramsey, and I believe him, he makes total sense. Okay, anytime society says one thing, you usually want to do the opposite. That's just how I've always seen it anyway. So he talks about how you don't need your credit, scores, and you don't need all this here. I mean, obviously, if you're going to buy a house, then I think you might want to use that. But he's saying that if you're going to buy a house, don't go for a 30-year loan. Go for the 15. And if you say, well, I can't afford it, then he says, don't buy a house. It would be better to rent. So the whole idea is to stay debt-free. So it's awesome because I can totally see now that I'm doing this how compulsive I really was, even though I was being careful. I can see now I'm living really frugal, okay? When you're handed cash, told what to do, go figure it out, you live a very simple life. So to go to college, he talks about, I'm not going to explain to you the steps right now, but if you want to go to college or send your kid to college, if you cannot afford to pay cash, don't do it. Don't go get a loan. You should be able to pay it off cash, go to an affordable college, he's saying. And same thing pretty much, get a used car. Get the 15-year mortgage, and you want to pay off your house as fast as you can. And at the same time, he's saying if you put $100 from the age 25 to 65, you will be a millionaire. And if you put it in good mutual funds that have great interest rate, like 12%, sometimes it'll fluctuate, or in a Roth IRA. Now, I know you can get a Roth IRA at the bank, so I don't really know about mutual funds. You'd have to talk to a broker about that. And I am not 25, and I haven't been doing that. So now is the time to start, okay? We want to be well off when we are 65 because your Social Security is not going to take care of you. Your money that you're going to get from your job, all this, your retirement pay is not going to be enough, okay? So you want to live very comfortable. So the goal is to to go by the 7 steps, save your money instead of spending it. You might be like me and think that, oh, I'm doing really well, but you'll see that if you put yourself on a budget, and they even have an app for that, it's called Every Dollar, and you just put your income and all your expenses, and as you spend your money, you calculate it in there, right? You just put it in, it does the calculation for you actually, and then it will tell you how much you have left for the month. And you put your husband's or your wife, whoever's watching this, in there, and it will calculate everything for you collectively. So I thought that was awesome. And so we're trying out that app, and it's all about just living just responsibly, where you're not going out and spending money. So the goal is to get everything paid off, but the way you do that is by having emergency fund, retirement fund, some money for your children's education. And then by doing those steps, you'll see the 7 steps on David Ramsey's YouTube channel. Then you can start knocking off all those really big mortgages. Okay, God bless you. Debt free is for me.